us hunger, death consumed.
Greetings and welcome back to the Tournament of the Living Dead. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Todd,
Good evening.
Pugs Dread,
Namaste. Howdy.
and our resident zombie expert, Chris McGibbon.
What's up?
Enthusiasm. Halloween is upon us, and Pugs, let them know how the Tournament of the Living Dead works.
What we do for our tournaments is rate and review a film, and then at the end of the episode, we'll add that movie to a list compiled from our previous episodes. And then we will vote to eliminate one of those films off the list, leaving us with our 3 zombie films, aka our 3 survivors. Then those 3 final survivors will go up against a new zombie film every episode until we reach day 13. And when we get to that point, we will pick one of the 3 survivors as our Tournament of the Living Dead champion. So now that that's out of the way, Todd, tell us our previous eliminations and whatever the hell else is on the menu.
Thank you, Pugs. Our previous eliminations are Primoto's Fallen Angel, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, Dead Girls, Nightmare City, Biozombie, World War Z, 13 Eerie, and Dance of the Dead. Still in contention, we have Lucio Fulci Zombie, Return of the Living Dead, and The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. Added today into the mix is The Dead Hate the Living. Dan, why don't you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So The Dead Hate the Living is a 2000 horror film from writer-director Dave Parker, who we'll talk about here in a minute. But this film follows when a renegade band of young filmmakers break into an abandoned hospital to make their horror epic. They stumble upon a real dead body and decide to use it in their movie. They accidentally bring it back to life, open a portal to a dead world that releases dozens of other zombies, then struggle for their lives in a desperate attempt to flee from the creatures who apparently have them hopelessly trapped in the hospital. So Dead Hate the Living. This one, notable for me because it's 2000. This movie predates 28 Days Later, the Resident Evil movies, Walking Dead, of course, and just Dawn of the Dead remake. There was nothing much going on in 2000. Very, very little in terms of zombie content, and some of the stuff we were getting, Prison of the Dead, David Dakota was not that good. So I see this cover, which in my heart is iconic, and there it is right there, with Maggot is the zombie's name on the cover, played by Andre Doc Newman. And I just saw that and I was like, my God, this is too good to be true. Early 2000, I think this came out February. I remember picking it up, I think, at Hollywood Video. And I was just like, this is going to be the best thing ever.
I didn't realize this was a milestone for you. Right on.
It kind of was.
It was a big deal at the time. I do remember, yeah.
It really was, because I love Full Moon, and it's a zombie movie. Budgets were starting to shrink, obviously, at this point, so I didn't know what to expect, but I watch it. Was it the greatest thing ever? Well, logically now I could tell you no. At the time, it was very special. And I'm going to be honest, revisiting it every time I do, this movie holds up for any of the flaws that it has. And it's by no means a perfect movie. Some of the digital effects, particularly the fire.
That
really
was laughable at the time. Every discussion I've ever had with Chris about that, we've talked about how shitty. That's like the example for some shitty CG fire and low budget films.
That was common though at the time, even with Full Moon, like the first Killjoy, I believe, and there were some others where that was just bad.
Up until that moment, that it's like the rest, I was like, yeah.
Well, the rest of it's interesting because this movie, it doesn't have the typical Full Moon feel of the time, and we've talked about it before. Big fan of that late 90s, early 2000s wave with Head of the Family, The Creeps, Hideous. I wasn't the biggest Scream wave fan. That's not my favorite era of horror by far. It's probably my least favorite. So thank God for Full Moon. And, so I had high hopes for this movie. And for all the warts that it has, I still think it's a ton of fun. It has more of an Italian horror vibe, and that's where a lot of the references in this film come from. It's Gino De Rossi rather than just insipid, the black guy dies first kind of comments, or, just the basic horror shit. It was a little more clever for that time when, Fulci, was known, but kind of like that big, big resurrection for him at that time. Was just kind of starting in the late 90s. So it was kind of cool at the time. Like, oh, okay, there's other people out there that appreciate the Beyond and House by the Cemetery. And I don't think this movie gets enough credit because, sure, if it came out now, I don't know that it would have the same cult following. But it came out in 2000 where we didn't have shit. And I think it holds up. We get, rather than a zombie army, we get very distinct and interesting zombies. Maggot, again, the cover zombie looks great. We have
the Stump.
Yeah, we have the late Matthew McGorry is Gaunt, I believe is that zombie's name. And for my money, that's the scariest fucking zombie, or at least in that conversation that I've ever seen on screen. 7'7", I believe that guy was, still in the Guinness World Records. So yeah, obviously I love it. I'm sure I'll geek out on it a little bit more, but what's your story with this film, Chris? I know we've talked about it in the past.
Yeah, it as a zombie fan that was pretty
Starved.
Starved for content at that point. I was super excited to find out this movie existed, and I think I heard about it. It was either in an issue of Fangoria or something. I remember it was playing on a pay channel, and I had it was back at, when you had your parents order it for you, and then they record it while you were at school or something, or that's what my dad used to do. And I remembered loving it. I think I forced myself to love it more than I normally would have, just because it was a new zombie movie, but I still enjoyed it a lot. And I had to go to summer school that year, and we had to develop a board game as part of the math program I was in. And the board game I made was The Dead Hate the Living. I remember that. That was and you had to use, all the zombies had specific points, and the characters had specific points, and the weapons they had specific points. And you had to add and subtract to figure out how you could defeat the zombies if you landed on the same spot. It was, it's a pretty standard game, but it was, I drew the hospital map and all the little zombie pieces and everything anyway. But this movie actually introduced me to Italian horror in a big way, because I had seen Zombie at that point, but I had never heard of The Beyond. And as luck would have it, like, Anchor Bay was just putting it out on DVD, and I didn't know who David Warbeck was, and there were a lot of other references made in this movie that I was like, oh, I've never heard of that, I've never seen that. So this movie did kind of open some doors to other content that I was pretty oblivious to. With that being said, watching it as an adult, I almost kind of groan at some of those references because they feel a little too on the nose. And
it was bothering me this go around too,
but not in 2000. Not really.
No, I get it. It was just this go around. It was like any other reference now.
It's like, because it's not like references now. I don't know how else to put this without. I'm not trying to be insulting to the writer or the director, because I think Dave Parker's a great guy, but a lot of those references are a lot more intelligently hidden now. It's one of the, it's like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't miss a beat. But in this movie, it's so like it's almost kind of essential to the plot to understand the references they're making, because if you don't, then you're a little lost in what they're discussing. And it's almost like, in an instance like that, while Dead Hate the Living is a fun little zombie movie, it's certainly nothing compared to Fulci Zombie or The Beyond in a lot of ways. And if you're being reminded of the better movie throughout your movie's runtime, or better movies that mirror it, it even has a Return of the Living Dead nod. Sorry, Pugs, but the party time scene like that. So it just, it's like, oh shit, like I could be watching Return of the Living Dead instead of this right now, which I'm sure, three of us would maybe rather be doing, but one of us would probably disagree. but that's my only issue with it as a whole, is that the references now feel very forced and very just not cleverly written, and they're just there to be like, hey, we're this other horror movie, yeah, we know all about it and we're smarter than you. But and in this day and age, everybody knows about those movies that's into the genre. So, but then again, there could be some 12-year-old kid who sees this for the first time and has no idea who Lucio Fulci is, and this could introduce him to him. That's what it did for me. So, but I still enjoy it. It's fun. It's just, it's not one I revisit too often. I did have a conversation with Dave Parker about it not too long ago, kind of inquiring where's the Blu-ray for this, because Full Moon seems like they put everything out.
Yeah, I had the same combo.
And he's like, yeah, Charlie Band hates that movie, so he probably won't ever put it out. And I was like, he hates that movie? But he enjoyed Retro Puppet Master? What the fuck is wrong with him?
It is a different vibe. I mean, it doesn't feel exactly like a Full Moon movie, particularly at that time. And oddly enough, Dave Parker wasn't supposed to direct this. This was originally offered, well, not offered, just David Dakota was going to direct it. And David Dakota stepped up and he told the band, like, you're going to lose Parker. He wants to direct, and you should give him this to direct. He had done like second unit on The Creeps, and had been working for Full Moon for a while. Kra the Sea Monster, he shot some scenes for that, but it was really David Dakota who just said, let him do it or you're going to lose him. And thank God, because I don't think it would have been the same film if Dakota did it. No offense to him, but I don't think it would have been.
We've got some underwear shots.
You would have had a lot of underwear shots for sure. But, well, I'm sure having done Prison of the Dead, Dakota might have been like, yeah, maybe I should have just said, fuck this guy and just done that one. But it's amazing what Parker was lined up to do. A lot of people forget about this, but he was going to do the Puppet Wars trilogy, which was the scripts, I believe, are actually out there somewhere online, but it was post Puppet Master 3 trilogy. There was going to combine Puppet Master with some of the Universal monsters. Like there was going to be a mummy in one of the movies, a Dracula type character. Really interesting stuff that we didn't get. But obviously I love this movie and I'm geeking out with all the
I know, because he skipped me and went back to him again.
I didn't skip you. I circled around, sir.
Go for it, Mr. Todd.
All right. No, I was just going to say, yeah, basically, yeah, Chris nailed it with this. That was my whole thing. I still have fun with this, but yeah, just the references now just are kind of, cringe, as the kids would say.
As a first-time viewer, those references were not cringe for me. I mean, they were on the nose as fuck, garlic sandwich type shit, but I was fine with it. Maybe because I did factor in like the year it came out, but I fucking love movies about making movies, so that was fun. You guys skipped over a very, very important part. The main villain looks like Rob Zombie.
Oh yeah,
I fucking love that. Like that. As soon as he came on screen, I'm like, "Are we fucking serious? Why haven't I seen this before?"
Well, it makes them die slowly. The White Zombie album too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one, ear to ear smile. Majority of the time, it did overstay its welcome just a little bit, but I had fun with this. This will be not an annual watch, but there are some people I need to know that if they haven't seen this, I would like to watch with them.
I'm guessing you're going to sell it as the Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, fuck yeah. If they want to remake this with Rob Zombie now, I'm in.
Right.
He can't direct, though.
Well, yeah, because then who's this old lady going to be?
Tiny. Just take the part. No makeup required.
We'll put her in stilts. It'll work.
No, I really had fun with this. I'm glad it's on my radar now.
Awesome.
Very cool. All right. Well, we all still enjoy it, minus a couple minor complaints. And that could just old age. Any other geeking out, Dan? Go ahead now. Your floor is yours.
Just a little bit. I've talked to Dave Parker too. He's one of the nicest people you could ever meet. And Also wrote House of the Dead, which there's some great stories about that as well. And he's a really talented guy. I wish he'd get to make more movies than he has, but I really, in my heart, Dead Hate the Living is one I'll always remember and always come back to. I don't quite get why Ban doesn't have more of an appreciation for it. It's much gorier than your typical full moon movie too. I don't know what it is.
Mad he made a better zombie movie than him. I don't know.
At that time, absolutely, because things were slipping a little bit. But yeah, give this one a shot. If you haven't seen it, maybe the references now aren't as clever as they were then, but they definitely were clever then. So
Pugs
I
still
don't
had fun
cringe.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a good place,
Well,
Dan. Well,
It's a
what do
lot
you-
of fun. The movie's fun it's not like it's boring or anything like that. It's a very fun,
Yeah.
entertaining film. And I do love the very distinct zombies. Because Dave Parker, even in the interview, said like he knew he didn't have money for hordes of zombies, so he wanted to have character zombies. And I thought that was a very wise choice because you basically have a giant zombie and the Incredible Hulk zombie roaming around this
Yeah.
really cool location too. I do want to throw out props to the location. They lucked out in finding this apparently abandoned hospital, it definitely added to the film, and the characters were fun too. They're fun to watch, and it is fun to watch people make a movie. Yeah, it is. It's very. I think the quote on the front from Tom Savini still is pretty accurate. It's unique.
He was original. Savini, Alice Cooper, I think the lead singer for Wasp, were all Dee Snider.
Blackie
as well.
Lawless? Hell yeah.
Dee Snider was also approached to play Dr. Ivan in this movie, and obviously I think they just didn't have the money, but there's a lot of good
Man, if
gags.
they
too.
all would have shown up on set, that'd been fucking awesome.
That would have been awesome. I mean, Alice Cooper's done some low budget stuff, but I mean, the scene when he tries to hit him with the fake prop machete was hilarious. I still crack up at that. I love it. I'm done geeking at that. So.
I wish they would. The only thing I wish they would George Lucas on this is that fucking crappy CGI fire. Because even back then he complained about it and he didn't like it, and it wasn't endearing then. It wasn't cute. It was just like, oh my god, that's awful. Because up until that point, I think everything was practical. I don't think that there was a lot of
nothing that stuck out. If there was anything else,
no.
It's just that I even back then just jumped out like looked like the fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony video with the goddamn fire stuck on their beanies. It's horrible.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that was CG was some lightning effects, but that was it, which was pretty powerful.
Yeah, like I said, nothing that drew you out of the movie like that. But
yeah, that one I want someone to go in and be like, fix it. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but whenever Full Moon puts out a Blu-ray, and there's
everything.
no, they don't.
Oh, that's right. They cut out and use the old effects.
They cut out and they use like the standard definition footage, saying parts of the film are quote lost. So instead of going in and spending the money to redo those effects because they were obviously edited on video, those parts of the film are lost, and they just use the standard def master.
Whoever came up with that idea,
so
I hope we got a good bonus for being an asshole. And that's smart, but damn.
Well, honestly, that's the only way some of those finished on videos were going to get put out. So,
yeah, that's true.
I'll take
They're going out of their way to manipulate current stuff.
Listen, After Effects is a thing now, and it's much, much easier to recreate cheap, stupid-looking CGI than it is to make convincing CGI. They could pay someone fucking $100 on what's that fucking website you hire someone to do like a graphic design job or something. You put a bid out there and someone would fix that shit in no time. Charles Band is just a fucking cheap shyster. All right, that's all there is to it.
Well, I mean,
this was shot on 35, by the way, which a lot of people.
But it was edited on video most likely.
Yeah, it was finished on video, like most of Full Moon. Then
yeah, they never cut a negative or something.
Most of home video. Then I mean, honestly, for direct to video stuff.
Yeah,
that's why. All right, Dan, what are you going to give it a rating of?
You can accuse me of nostalgia, but I'm 4 stars. I love it. It holds a special place in my heart.
Well, I don't have that nostalgia, and I'm also a 4 out of 5.
There you go.
All right. Chris, what about you?
I'd probably give this one a solid 3.
I'm in between you guys. I'm a 3.5 on this one. It's really good. Just check it out. You know what? No, I'm giving it a 4. It's worth it.
There you go.
Rob Zombie.
They talked me into it. All right. So now here we go. Up for elimination. Dan, you get to go first. Up for elimination, tonight we have Lucio Fulci Zombie, The Return of the Living Dead, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, and The Dead Hate the Living. Dan,
Well,
just put it over.
I put this movie over hard for a reason because I know it's definitely a dark horse in this company. Yeah, I mean, I have to vote out Dead Hate the Living, but much like some of these previous films we've done, it's not a shot against it. It's just it's up against the world.
You're taking a shot at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Could have just voted something else, no one's
Oh,
gonna vote for.
I don't think I don't think it's going to be unanimous. I sense so.
I know, but you know what? You could have thrown a zombie ad or something right now and not voted for your movie. I've done it to say, but not
Hey.
Danny. Put it over for like 21 minutes off.
The luck of the draw.
Hugs.
Return
I
of the
have to
Living
ask?
Dead.
Okay.
Why do we? Yeah,
Chris?
just repeat his video.
Well,
I'll
add a clip in.
I mean, the only reason I'll even say Dead Hate the Living is because honestly, the other 3 movies that we're putting it up against are the very ones it references. So this, like, let's be real, like Dead Hate the Living wouldn't exist without those 3 movies. So
There
Damn
you
it, Chris just talked me into it. I was going to just say, not that it matters at this point. I was just going to do The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, but now I got to go with Dead Hate the Living too. So eliminated this week, or today, Dead Hate the Living. So
If you haven't
There you
seen
go.
it, great Halloween watch. So it's not too
I
late
agree.
at it.
and it's streaming all over the place. So check it out.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back here next time. We're getting down to the wire, and
Yay.
I think it's going to be a tough Final Four, no matter how it goes.
Is
So,
it?
Final 3 now, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Final 3.
Final 3 right now, yes. But I'm saying, yeah. Sorry.
I guess we will end up with the final 4 films on that last show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No matter
Oh,
what.
no. Don't try to make it sound like you knew what you were saying now.
I knew
I shouldn't have helped
exactly
you
what I
out.
was saying. I'm on a
All right,
different
Dan,
level, Todd.
get us
Different
outta here.
tension, like the movie. You're just not quite there.
Dan,
But-
just get it set. Come on.
Goodbye. See you next time.
Money's on the dresser.
Mr. Chris,
I go play in traffic.
I'll see you in Disneyland.